Lia is here sharing with us on behalf of Fundação Telefônica Vivo, the project of Escola 42, like translating School 42,
Yes.
a school that it's not a school, isn't so, Lia? And Lia is the manager of education in the Fundação Telefônica, and we are so honored to have you here to share with us how much the Fundação is improving and enhancing the quality of education, bringing technology, making this bridge between people, technology for a better future. So please, the floor is with you. Share the screen and tell us, what are you doing back there? We are curious.
Well, first of all, thank you so much for the space for our foundation to be here and share with you the work we've been doing. It was also a pleasure to listen to the previous presentations, because I think it brings us to another level of thoughtfulness. So I appreciate it. I will share with you a few slides. So Fundação Telefônica Vivo is part of a global initiative, which is funded by Telefónica Foundation in Spain, together with La Caixa Foundation. We work in over 40 countries, bringing programs with the aim of enhancing public education all over the world, to communities in Africa, Latin America, and Europe as well. In Brazil, we've been investing in public education for the last 22 years, developing programs together with local governments, teachers, students, communities, in order to bring to teachers solutions that could bring to classrooms, solutions that will help teachers, and to students as well, opportunities to learn things that before the pandemic we would consider innovations, and that now we see that are more than necessary as skills for the present, no longer for the future. When we started working with technology and innovation in the classrooms, I was not a part of Telefonica Foundation, but I recall that people would think that, you know, technology for teachers is something only for those schools that are in privileged communities, that are innovating because they do not have to focus on basic knowledge. And what we see today is that technology is actually part of a basic package that we need to look into in order to have good quality education. In 2021 alone, we've reached more than 1,000 schools. We trained over 70,000 teachers, and we were able to train more than 1 million students all over Brazil. So we're really proud of those results. And the case study that I would like to share with you today is actually a solution that started up in France, that was brought to Spain, and then we, as Telefónica Foundation, initiated in Brazil, focused on developing exceptional programmers. So it's a programming school, but that is not a school. The whole concept is that we can provide an environment in which students will learn with each other, more experienced students learning with students that are just beginning their journey, in which everything is done on a project-based learning methodology. It's free. It takes about 2 years, but each student has its own path, his or her own path. And what they need to do is pass the selection process and then pass phases in which they are stimulated to learn and share and rethink and share again. No programming experience is required. but at the same time, a lot of willingness to be part of this whole journey is very much required. And in order to do that, we the model has developed something that is really innovative in the education world, because it brings content, it brings methodology, it brings evaluation, so all the hard skills are there, but they only work if they're together with soft skills, which we joke here even with Ines that are not that soft. In this current society, what we see is that hands-on learning, willingness to perform, but not at any cost, teamwork, collaboration, the resilience, these are all things that are part of the methodology. So in order for a student to perform and to succeed and to be able to achieve the last level of the degree, it's not a degree because it doesn't have a certificate, the person needs to want to be there, to collaborate, to engage, to make mistakes, go back, correct, and share again. So the whole model is very disruptive in a sense, and despite the fact that it doesn't, it's not possible to take it as in scale to public policy. It does bring to us at our work insights on how it is possible to reinvent the way we think of education. So it's our spotlight of innovation that keeps us spark, that while we do our day-to-day work together with public schools, which are our main part of our work, there's something there that tells us that it's possible to do different, to innovate, to bring students to a different level of engagement to learning. We, I was gonna bring another thing, but what I think that what we have been doing here, learning with the 42 case study, is to look into the gap that we have in education now, and then after the pandemic, what we see is public schools going through a crisis of how to integrate technology, how to look into social emotional learning, how to look into teacher training, and 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 what this case study shows us is that it's possible not by bringing incremental changes into the model, but also how we can disrupt the model and think of a type of education that is completely different. We're now working with them in São Paulo, but the school is present in a couple countries and even in Brazil in a couple cities now. And although scalability is not a part of the model because of the way it works, we do keep it in our portfolio now because it brings us the spark of something that could be different. And we've also been trying to um, to work with them, so we bring more diversity. So we mix, kids that have a socioeconomic background that is very privileged together with kids that come from low income communities, and so it's a very good experience for us as well to learn, and for these students to also go through a journey that they wouldn't be able to do in another regular school. We've been investing on them for the last 3 years. They had to reinvent themselves throughout the whole pandemic. We also learned with that. Um, and I think it, perhaps what we find in the technology world, perhaps it's one of the most disruptive models that we see out there. And so um, we're very happy to be with them. I think and to be quick, Ines, that's what I wanted to share with you, but I'm open to any questions you might have.
Having the privilege of being close to you and Fundação Telefónica in this special project, one of these special projects, I would like you to share with us a bit more about when you talk about how you choose the students to be in this school, because this is very disruptive in Brazil, because it's a free of charge school with high quality, and by what I know, please share, they need to learn and to go to their inner world and share and work as a team in order to proceed in the school. And this is very different. It's not only about technology, it's technology connecting humans. Could you talk us a bit more about this, please?
Yeah. So the whole selection process is actually based on social emotional skills pretty much. You do not have to be a programmer, but you do have to go through what we call, it's a selection process in which um, you have to show that you have the ability to learn, to be resilient, and to collaborate. And so once you pass that, you get into the actual program in which you develop all the technical skills and the content. And at the end of the program, you have to demonstrate that you have a portfolio of real life solutions that then are really based on programming and showing that you can be a good programmer, which makes our students be very employable. So at the end of the program, all of them are employed by big corporations and small corporations. Um, so the whole process, what we say is that you have to be a coder, but more than that, you have to be a human coder. It's all about human-centric approach and how the technical aspect is combined with the whole human aspect as well. So throughout the whole journey, they receive feedback from their peers and from people from the 42 school on how they're being able to collaborate and how they're being able to, go through a process in which they will make a mistake and they have to go back and they have to redo it. So it requires a lot of resilience and it requires a lot of self-confidence as well. So when we bring students that come from a low-income community and put them together with students from a high-income community, knowing that sometimes they may not even feel part of that environment, what we see is that it takes a lot of courage, a lot of engagement from those who are at the school receiving those students, but also the whole group to make to create an environment in which everybody belongs and everybody can thrive, um, not only because of their own merit, but because of the environment they help create in the group. So I've heard cases in which you know one person wanted to take advantage of another and they get a bad score. So these are the kind of aspects that when we come then on the side of being at a large corporation, these are the kind of skills that we need today in the work environment as well. And so I think one of the reasons why they succeed as well and when they're employed is because they're able to identify that anybody can code if they sit down and they learn and they want to. Um, but not everybody can thrive in a corporation or in a workplace because there's the whole human aspect that needs to be considered. And so we believe that that's the differentiation between a regular school in which you can just do anywhere and get a certificate, and a school that requires a lot of your personal engagement in order to thrive.